All right, guys, welcome back. We are watching Hanamonogatari, Episode 1, Suruga Devil, Part 1. We got a Kanbaru arc. You know what? That makes sense, right? Hanamonogatari, like flowers, like flower story. Yeah, she's a lesbian, flowers, Japan. Yeah, yeah. Um, anyway, what's going on with Kanbaru? How long has it been since we've even seen Kanbaru? Um, we saw her in one episode of Tsubasa Tiger, right? For like one scene. But since then, I mean, obviously she wasn't in Nekokuro. We saw her in Nisei. That's the last time. It has been a while. We've not caught up with Kanbaru. So, man, I don't know. I am down for some Kanbaru though, that's for sure. I don't know, and it being Suruga Devil is kind of, that's a good counterpart to Suruga Monkey, huh? Because the monkey was actually a devil. I don't know. I guess I'm excited. I feel like I haven't been locked in enough lately. I don't know if it's because I'm watching too much stuff or something. I don't know what it is, but I gotta have a new era of being locked in and being like, I gotta be down with this. Let me grab my notes. Make sure I'm ready. Make sure I'm all prepared. Okay. All right. We're watching Hanamonogatari, Episode 1. You can line your own copy up with this if you want to. And we are starting in 3, 2, 1. Oh, that is a lot of lines. Definitely need to go back and read those. Who is talking right now? Oh. Oh, it's comfort narration. Oh, yes. Her mother, Gaintue. Interesting. Oh, okay. Huh. Because she's weak. Hmm. Interesting. I feel like I haven't gotten that vibe from Converu at all. Well, maybe I have. I don't know. And remember, oh, okay. Wow. She did not like her mom very much, apparently. I mean, because remember, her mom is the one who gave her the monkey paw, the devil hand, I guess. Huh. Oh god, there's all these lines. Oh my, I'm gonna lose it. Ooh, she was like a devil. Hmm. Oh, hmm. Yeah. Her feeling like she's descended from a devil. Oh, time for a fun new quarter at school. Okay. Oh, God. Oh, with her arm taped to the wall? Is she that scared of it? Of course she is, right? Yeah. Wow. It like shows how much she doesn't trust herself, right? Hmm. It's like she's haunted by her mother's voice too. That's man. She looks at the newspapers like I guess. Okay. Is that I guess. God, her hair is so long now. Oh, could you do that though? Oh, yeah. Yeah, because of what that decision would mean, right? I don't know. Are you indecisive? I guess you can call it indecisive. Hmm. Because to me, her hair is, of course, like a symbol of um Senjagahara. Yeah, yeah, I love Senjagahara, right? Start out with everything. Okay. Hmm. It might be. You never know. The author's thinking something about it, I'm sure. Why? They died. Okay, I don't believe you. I don't believe you that Araragi and Senjogahara died off screen. I'm sorry. Huh. How? Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say, like, are we past their graduation? I mean, it said it was a new quarter at school. I guess I assumed we were talking about the new quarter we were starting in August in like Tsubasa Tiger, right? But is this like how where when are we? You know? Huh. Who are you? Oh, okay. Unseen character. Last day of my adolescence. Hmm. I gotta read all these lyrics again. I'm not paying enough attention to them, but that's okay. We got 5 episodes. I think this one's 5. It's not 4, right? I think that's how many I saw. Hmm. Her apparent relationship with this strange girl that we've never seen is interesting, I guess. And apparently they're gonna play some basketball. Sure. Sounds good. Hmm. I don't know. That's interesting, right? If she had some kind of relationship with her. Oh God, that's a sound. Considering like her attitude about Sindra, you know. I don't know. I don't know. Okay. Yeah, it sure does. Okay. Wow. So like, I mean, is this like a year later? Like, okay. That's all there is to it, huh? April 9th. Okay. So this is April 9th of the next year, right? So this is like a year after Kizu, essentially, right? Because I was like in April. Um, hi, Ogi Kun. Okay, right, sure. I was gonna say it. They're wearing Aragi's outfit, but I guess that's just like the boys' uniform at Noetsu, right? Okay, sure. If you say so. I guess I was mistaken. My bad. All right. Apologies. What is with you? What are you? Ooh. Sure. Okay. Are we gonna have another interesting talk like we did with Aragi? The idea of making mistakes, right? That's kind of a big thing for Conbrew, I think, right? Her not trusting herself. Yeah, was inevitably. Okay. Hmm. How do you two know each other exactly? Yeah, not creepy at all. What is okay? Right, like what's going on up there? Yeah, kind of is. It seems like you have a reason when you start going on about mistakes and stuff. Okay. Akuma-sama. Sir Devil. Hmm. Okay, that was interesting. That felt like less of Ogi digging around in her brain than it did when Ogi was talking to Araki. Maybe. I don't know. Looking at the look on her face, it feels like she's just new character. Man, we are getting all these new characters, huh? Higasa. Okay. Sure. Man, she's still not playing basketball. Yeah, that's so sad. I was trying to say, it feels like Kanbaru's really, I don't know, the absence of Senjugahara and Araragi. I think it's weighing a lot on her. She had to come up with an excuse? Okay. Why did she have to come up with an excuse to not hang out with Higasa? Kind of the same attitude Araragi had, right? Supposed to be your secret. Yeah, I'm sure. Is Kanbaru dumb, though? I don't know. Maybe. Ooh. What do we know about that rumor exactly? Okay. Sure. Yeah, if we're really saying, like, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, because of the monkey hand, right? Of course. Oh, okay. Well, maybe. I got you waking up in the middle of the night and being Sir Devil, like, I guess. Right. Anything that goes too far. Hmm. Yeah, right? Like, the devil that granted Suruga's wishes certainly didn't uh have any boundaries like that. Hmm. I don't think it's you. Maybe it is. I don't know. That'd be weird. Someone who really is a devil, huh? And like that's how Kambaru like thinks of herself, right? Yeah. They couldn't merely be kind, could they? Like they must have an ulterior motive for it, right? Wow. Whoa, 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 whoa. What happened? What did Aragi do? Oh, Karen. Sure. Sure, yeah, yeah. So they've heard about Akuma-sama too, of course. Sounds like Kaiki, right? Sounds like Kaiki, just like the same situation as last summer. It's good to know Karen and Kamaru became good friends after their meetup in Nisei. Okay, yeah, I caught all that. Don't worry. Read every last word. What am I looking at? What is that? Okay, okay, sounds kind of weird and magical, or like I don't know, supernatural. Okay, who do you get the number from? Sure, it's a devil. Hmm, hard mode. Is meeting the devil in person? Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. Okay. Ooh, a giant white plane. Sure. Is that them? That's them. Thinking it's that girl from the opening, right? I like her voice. Okay. Two contact. Yeah. Hmm. Oh, no. No one's ever met her before? Well, you need a bigger sample size now. The 11th of 10, huh? That's actually interesting. I don't know. The 11th of 10. Ooh. She's injured. A cut down tree. Huh. Sounds like she's helping people to me. Doesn't sound like a devil. Cut down tree. What does that mean exactly? Numachi Roka. Okay, so they did know each other. Okay, sure. Around the same time that she knew Shinjogahara, right? That was in middle school. Okay. Oh god, there's definitely gonna be some meaning behind like the ways they play basketball and like I don't know, their approaches towards their problems or something. Like I don't know. Oh, interesting. Hmm. Oh, but what does Conbury think about her own injury? You know, like what is Conbury's injury? You know, it's not a normal injury. Okay, so you spend your time being Akuma-sama. Sounds good. Yeah. Hmm. That is interesting. Because like what? I don't know. I don't know. The way she's talking, it doesn't sound like she's just doing it out of the goodness of her heart, really, right? She seems kind of like a bitter person right off the bat saying all that stuff. Okay. But maybe that's unfair of me to say. Maybe that's unfair of me to say. Maybe that's just like the way Kamburu would view her, you know? Oh, true. Right? Well, I guess, but Aragi, I don't know. Ooh, they have to work in mystery. Hmm. So like immediately I want to make a comparison between Numachi and Conbury, right? I okay, I was gonna say, I don't know if I believe that. I guess. Okay, doing potentially good things for a selfish reason, maybe, right? But does that really matter, right? Like, I don't know. If she's doing good either way, okay, I guess. Kind of the feeling of, what's it called? I guess I get it, right? I don't know. That doesn't really make me despise her exactly. I feel like I kind of get it. Collecting people. Okay, maybe if you're phrasing it in that way and saying that your goal is to collect people's misery, yeah, maybe that is a little bit weird. Where are we? What is this imagery? And why would Kanbaru be so mad at her for that, right? Like, does she see herself in Numachi somehow right now? I don't know. I don't know. No longer a basketball player. Neither of them play basketball anymore, right? Oh, wow. Not that serious, huh? Well, I don't. What if they were? I don't know. It's all stupid little stuff. What do you? What like? What's an example of stupid little stuff? Sure, and you collect their misery. No one, I guess, right? But it makes it feels wrong. The idea of someone just enjoying the misery, right? Well, what difference would it make if she took it seriously or not? No, I don't really do anything. Like you literally don't do anything at all. Oh, okay. You don't do anything. Like actually. Okay, sure. Interesting. But I don't know. On some level, you can say just someone hearing your problems is help by itself. You know what I mean? That's something Kombaru could learn from for sure. Hmm. What are you doing? Okay. Sure. The devil just listens. Nothing else is done. God, I'm gonna have to think about this episode, aren't I? Sure. Right. Well, maybe. I don't know if time alone is, right? Because normally things happen in that time. But, oh, this imagery, right? Like, sure, right. Because that's kind of been Komburu's strategy with, like, the Senjugahara thing is to just wait. What's wrong with running? You think? Is that true? I don't know. There's a lot of things you can't run away from. You try to solve a problem immediately. Okay, I feel like that applies to Kombaru in some ways, right? But like her being covered up by the sand there, like the sands of time. Yeah, yeah, like this is what I'm thinking about. If she had just done nothing or something, because she regrets her action so much. If she hadn't tried to face it, yeah. But I don't think that's right. I don't think that's right at all. Because what she's doing now is clearly not making her happy, and she's just waiting for time to fix it. And it's done anything but. Thank you. Okay. Sure. If you think so. Okay. Hmm. Is it true that you don't understand? I don't know. I don't know. That's interesting. Hmm. They're obviously so similar in a lot of ways, but I can't decide what Cumber is actually thinking. Both of you are off the court, huh? Yeah. And what does Conbrew think about this, right? The fact that Numachi is actually not playing basketball anymore for like a real injury, assumedly beyond her own control, you know? Ooh. Is that true though? I don't think it will. I don't think time is going to solve that problem at all, you know? Oh my god, that is beautiful. Because you don't trust yourself, right? You wouldn't have. Yeah. Oh, god. You can't just wait. Time isn't going to solve it, I don't think. It's not going to solve the underlying issue. God, that is a beautiful shot. Definitely sending that to Aragi, right? A girl. Count me in. That's great. Ooh. Like what, worrying over her own decisions so much? Sometimes it's action. Okay. Worrying is a waste of time. Yeah, sure. But here's the problem. But she's scared of that. She's scared of where acting has brought her, and the acting has brought her here, right? Like, well, kind of. Or is this the lack of acting? Oh. Hmm. Hmm. Oh, her arm is fixed. Okay. Right. Okay. Sure. Why not? Okay. Um. All right. Man, that was a fast-paced episode, wasn't it? We got a lot there. That was long too. It's like 30 minutes long. God damn. Ah, no, it's like 26. Still though, like, god damn, there's a lot in that episode, huh? Man. Okay, her arm is fixed, right? Like, it's fixed, you know? Like, the arm is just kind of representative of her problems, though. It's not like the actual problem itself, you know? Well, I don't know. I don't know. Because, like, the reason she stopped playing basketball is she was worried about, like, her arm being too powerful and her hurting other people, right? The same reason why she's been stuck on, like, Shinjo Gahara and just, like, stuck, like, in time, basically, you know? Um, not making any decisions because her decisions in the past have hurt other people, right? Um, so the arm being gone is interesting because it's not like her actual mentality has changed, right? Unless her discussion with Numachi had crazy, far-reaching consequences about her mentality that I just haven't realized somehow. I don't think so. Um, but I don't know. We will talk about it in the discussion. All right, let's talk about the episode. I gotta get into this. I gotta think. I gotta figure all this out because this is a rough one. I feel like this is, man, we are really getting into stuff. Because Converse is already a character that we've had like so little screen time of. Um, to start this off, what I want to do is give you my understanding of Kambaru now and like what I think of her before we like really get into this. So, my understanding of Kambaru is she a lot of her decisions in the past, particularly um, the stuff with the monkey, right? That's really what we're focusing on here. Have led to her hurting other people, right? Like desires that she has, like in the first time she used the monkey's paw and she beat up all her classmates, right? That was just, you know, she just had a desire, and through trying to fulfill that desire, she hurt other people, right? Happened again in Bake and Suruga Monkey, right? Um, where she almost killed Araragi, right? And even though she tells herself that she didn't want to, I guess, you know, what Oshino pretty much said is that deep down she does, essentially, right? That's what she wants, you know? That she's like just like I think anyone in the world has like desires like that where um you don't do it. You don't act out those desires because of like the consequences of it, right? Like I'm sure a lot of people a lot of people, there is someone in the world that they would want to like kill, right? That they think the world would be better off with them dead, right? Whether that's like, some terrible leader of some awful country or something, or just, someone closer, more personal to you that you really dislike. That would probably be harder to like admit that you would rather them be dead. But I think that's kind of a natural human thing. And the reason people wouldn't actually go through with like murdering that person in real life, um, is because I don't know. That's just like normal. Like I just think that's like most people, there is someone who they could say that they have someone that they would rather be dead than alive. But if you handed them a knife and tied that person to a table and told them to stab them to death, they probably wouldn't actually do it, right? That's kind of the disconnect I'm talking about here between like your maybe your darkest desires of some sense and like what you would actually enact. And the monkey's paw, the devil's hand, whatever we want to call it anymore, I guess kind of felt like it like eroded away that line for Kombaru. It let her actually go through, or maybe it made her, depending on how you look at it. It like made her go through with those like dark desires that she had. Because again, it's like in the moment when she was like looking at the monkey's paw and making the wish. Yes, that's kind of her making the decision to do what she wants to do and lock in that desire and actually go through with it. But at the same time, she's not literally in the moment, like holding the knife about to kill someone. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like a trick in that sense, right? Like I assume that's kind of how the devil works, right? If the rainy devil gets something out of it, your soul or whatever, then that's kind of how it's tricking you in a sense, right? Like yes, it's your desire and you made the wish to do it, but if you were actually in that situation, like right then, and you had the choice whether or not like Conbrew was gonna, I don't know, beat those kids to death herself, then I don't think she would have done it, right? Like if all the monkey did instead of like taking her over in some sense was give her a knife to go stab all the kids to death, she wouldn't have done it, right? It's the devil like eroded away that line of her desires and like her, I guess, common sense, you could almost call it, like actually being in the situation and not going through with it. And I think because of that, because of her realizing she has these desires and chasing what she wants in that sense has hurt other people all the time, she just doesn't trust herself anymore. She doesn't trust herself to pursue what she wants to do or make like decisions in general, right? And that's kind of like the position in my mind she has been in the story ever since Bake when we met her, right? Like with Sindra in general. Um, Even in this episode, we get confirmation that of course she's still in love with Sindra. She hasn't moved on, right? She called herself greedy, where she said, "I am greed," which is interesting. Because of course, even then, it's like if she distrusts her own desires and her own actions, I guess calling herself greedy makes sense, right? But if she's still in love with Sindra after all this time, even the beginning of this episode when she's going on about her inability to like give up Araragi and Sindra, it just shows that it's like almost like she's stuck, right? Like she's stuck in time, not really stuck in the past, because it's not like this happened a long time ago, right? But she's stuck. She can't move forward at all. I don't even know if I would call it running away from her problems exactly. I just think it's that she is unable to address them in any way. She doesn't trust herself to address her problems because she worries about what it would mean for other people. There's a hair in my mouth. Um, and the hair. I brought up the hair a bunch of times. I'm just telling you, her hair is so long now, right? Like in Bake, when she was talking to Araragi about how she could grow out her hair a bunch to like be his sex slave and replace Senju. Well, that's what she's been doing, isn't it? She's been growing out her hair. She's been acting ridiculous with Araragi this whole time. So whether or not like you want to view it as literally she's trying to get Araragi to pick her over Senju, I just think in a sense that kind of is what she's doing. And it's like now to me, when she's talking about her indecisiveness about cutting her own hair too, the hair is just like literally a symbol of like Senju at this point, right? It even looks like Senju hair. Um, it's like it's pretty much like the same length. Like from behind, it's a slightly different color, of course, but it even looks like her hair. So I guess yeah. So to sum it all up, to summarize it, Kombaru is scared of making decisions because she's scared of hurting other people because that's happened in the past because of the devil. Um, and I guess that's what the arc's going to be about. That certainly seems like what it's going to be about. Okay, we got a bunch of lines at the start here. God, where's my... There it is. Let me make sure it's muted. Okay. I gotta read all these. I would rather like to talk about how Kambara Suruga is pretty stupid, but I wonder if you would listen to me. Well, I don't think the story has a point, none at all. In my time, I've come to hate many people, to detest many people. Okay. I found a devil inside myself and made him grow. But still I wondered what others did in their lives. Now I will tell you of my story and hers. Please let me share it. I know that I live stupidly. How do you live, I wonder? Is who's talking there? Is that's not Kambaru, right? I mean you could say it's Kambaru. Um and she's just talking in this weird way. But I wonder, is this Kambaru's mother? Right? Because we get immediate lines from Kambaru's mother right after this, you know. So is this supposed to be Kambaru's mother saying these lines as well? Maybe, which would be interesting. Maybe that's too far of a rabbit hole to try and go down because that might just not be true. But if this is supposed to also still be in Kambaru's head, this is like such a weird way for her to be thinking, right? Referring to herself in third person and saying like, "Oh, I'll tell you about my story and hers," you know. But this seems like a Kambaru line in a way, right? In my time, I've come to hate many people, to detest many people. Because I think that's how Kambaru would think about herself, right? Like the whole hatred angle of the Rainy Devil too, you know. Hmm. Even though it's like my thoughts on that, I just don't really know what to think about it exactly. Because again, it's like I don't think Kambaru actually hated Araragi, right? Or if she did hate him, maybe that's wrong. I think she did hate Araragi. Um, I don't think she hated him to the point where, without the intervention of the devil as an oddity, she would have wanted to kill him, right? Maybe she would have wanted to kill him. She wouldn't have literally gone through with it and tried to kill him, right? That's what I'm trying to say, you know? Same with the kids that were making fun of her when she was a little kid, right? I don't think she would have beaten them to death if she, without the intervention of the devil, you know? Um, I don't know though. Maybe I'm putting too much on the devil. Maybe that's just like wrong. But I don't know. I don't know. I feel like that makes it more relatable, like to the audience, right? If we're saying that the devil is essentially, yes, the devil inside yourself. I think everyone has a devil inside themselves in that sense, right? Um, where you cannot trust your own like desires in that sense if you realize that they're like evil in that way. You know what I mean? Hmm. I don't think the story has any point. That's what she said, right? Found a devil inside myself and made him grow. And that's obviously like a convert line, right? But I guess that could also be a Gun 2-way line. Like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't think the story has a point, none at all. Okay. I guess I don't know what to make of those lines. Oh, God. I know that I live stupidly. How do you live, I wonder? Does Converu live stupidly? Kind of, yeah. Kind of just completely stuck, unable to make any decisions. Interesting. Okay. How do I do this again? It's like control. It's like control arrow key. No, I thought it was like control shift arrow key. That lets me go to the next line, right? Yeah, there we go. Okay. If you can't be a cure, be a poison. Otherwise, you're just plain old water. Oh God, what does it mean to be poison? What does it mean to be water? I mean, okay. What? Let's take this from the start here, right? Poison. What does poison do? It like hurts people, right? It's like bad to drink poison. What does water do? Nothing. It's just water. What has Converu been doing? She's been doing a whole lot of nothing, I guess, right? She's been sitting in a room with her arm tied up, unable to move on, unable to do anything, right? So would that be her being plain old water? But then what would be being poisoned? Being acting the way she was with the devil? Like, I don't think that's very good advice. But of course, Gun 2A seems like she might not be the best mother in that sense. So, I don't know. Maybe that's the wrong way to look at it still. Man, being poison versus being water. My mom used to say things like that. I think you can call my mother a good one. So it's interesting that she doesn't seem to have a very good opinion of her mother. Life for you will be a much bigger pain in the ass than it is for most people. Oh, it's going forward too much. It's not, man, the tech isn't working. I don't know why it doesn't. That's so sad. It'll be boring, irritating, and too much to handle. Is that how Kambaru views her life? Boring, irritating, and too much to handle. I don't know. I don't know. I'm wondering why Gain2A is saying this, right? Obviously, it makes you think, especially if there's lines in the start war from Gain2A's point of view. It makes you think, of course, Gain2A must have had similar issues to Kambaru, right? Especially because Gain2A is the one who gave Kambaru the devil hand, too, right? Why did she have it? Did she ever use it? You know what I mean? If she had a similar struggle to Kambaru, right? And she's giving her advice, like telling her this is how your life is going to be. Um, then that would certainly make you think that Gain2A had similar struggles to her. I guess I just don't know what she means exactly, saying that life is going to be a pain in the ass. There will be boring, irritating, too much to handle. Is that how Kambaru views her life? Is that how she thinks about things? Huh, maybe, right? Too much to handle, I can certainly understand. But it isn't because you're anything special, it's because you're weak. Is Kambaru weak, right? What could Gan2A mean by saying that Kambaru is weak? Like, she is unable to handle the pain that her desires would inflict on others, right? She's certainly weak in that sense, right? That she has decided to not make any decisions anymore because she's scared of the impact it'll have on other people, right? Very understandably so. I don't know if I agree that that makes her weak. You live your entire life bearing that weakness. I hope you won't make the fact that everything is a pain in the ass your purpose in life. God, I don't know. I don't know. Is everything a pain in the ass to Kambaru? I just don't even know. I don't know what to think about that at all. That's such a weird way of phrasing it, you know? I'm gonna look at the other subs to see how the way other subs translate that. Because I'm very curious. Like, oh, god damn it. Why it's not working again. Like, come on, I'm trying to just go line by line here. Okay, well, this is really, man. Everything that pain in the ass your purpose in life. Let me switch to, like, MTBB. Okay, well, that's not a very... Your troubles, that's not, like, that's not much of a... That's not a very specific... What else do we got? The default subs, that's just those. Okay, well, we don't really have many other options, unfortunately. Everything is a pain in the ass, your purpose in life. I don't know. I don't know. That's a very interesting line. I can't decide what to think about it at all. Hmm. She loved to say things that would confuse people. Things she may or may not have understood herself. She liked her was just that little thing over there, nothing more. She really did not like her mother, huh? Okay, interesting. Really didn't like her. And in that sense, it kind of, like, makes sense, right? Like, um, hmm. Her disliking her mother like that, when it's clear that Kambaru, like, kind of dislikes and distrusts herself, right? Um, and, like, her mother is her mother, right? Like, I don't know, huh? It's not a question of why he fell in love with her. Oh, come on. But why she went as far as to run away to marry my father. Interesting. I remember my dad used to say that girl's living in the place of God. Calling her that girl. Living in the place of God. What does that mean exactly? Living in the place of God. Like, what is God? Like, kind of feels vaguely related to, like, the decision-making kind of thing, right? Like, God certainly has the ability to make any decisions. I don't know. I don't know. I can't decide if I think Gain2A is someone who ended up overcoming this kind of problem that Kambaru is having right now, or if she's someone who, like, gave up and always had this problem that Kambaru has throughout her whole life, right? And that this advice that she's giving Kambaru is, like, bad advice, right? Like saying, like, you should be poison instead of just plain water, right? As if there's not, like, a third option, right? Like, couldn't there be another option? Couldn't there be, or is being water that bad? Like, I don't know. I don't know. Hmm. She was like a devil, right? And that's what makes it clear that, like, in some sense, I feel like this has to be another thing that has to contribute to Cumber's distrust of herself, right? Knowing that she came from someone who she views as a devil in that sense, you know? Gods and devils are the same thing. No matter how you try to dress it up, the fact is humans are their toys. And, okay, so saying Gantua lives in the place of God, saying it as if, like, she treats people like her toys, I guess? Stop thinking about something you already know. Hmm. Wake the hell up, you stupid girl. Thank you. Thank you. God, what a depressing scene right here. Like, look at how depressing this is. Look at her. Look at the situation she's in. Her arm tied to the thing. Um, like literally, she has to tie herself to the wall or tape herself to the wall. I guess it's tape, right? Must spend a lot of money on tape. Tape herself to the wall every night because she trusts herself that little, right? Like God, how depressing that is. This is one of the most depressing things we have seen in this show, to be honest. Like, think how horrible and uncomfortable it would be to sleep in that position too, you know? Like, and just having that dream too, just like being harassed by her mother in her dreams, essentially, you know? And obviously it's relevant to like her situation, right? I mean, she's dreaming it with her arm tied to the wall because of where her attitude about this has led her, you know? And it's like in this situation, it's like if this is what being water is like, then yeah, couldn't you say that being poison is better than being water? If those are her two options, you know? God, like look how sad she is, you know? And she's just alone. She's just everyone has left her. Aragi and Shinjagahara have they're gone, right? Like God, how sad that is, you know? Also, can I just say the music in this arc has been like amazing already in the first episode? Like, it's been so good. I don't know. It's a full new OST, that's for sure. These ridiculous restraints, right? And it's like these restraints in terms of like not literally just tying herself to the wall, but the restraint of like not making any decisions, right? Like unable to move on, unable to do anything, you know? Man, must be talking about the destructive impulse hiding in your subconscious, huh, Suruga? Like what? Her mother actually said that to her at some point? That's crazy. Like, yeah, she she checks the newspapers to make sure she didn't commit any crimes, right? Just literally cannot trust herself at all. Not in a minuscule, tiny amount. Like, man, I start looking for nail clippers now. Would definitely be late for school. And I guess it just showed like the fact that she's cutting her nails with scissors. Her room is a complete mess. Her like, sorry, I'm looking for deeper meaning in it. Like she told me not to, but it just shows that like you know she's unable to keep her own life together at all, right? Like it's it's like she's completely reliant on other people because she's unable to make decisions herself, right? She doesn't trust herself in any way, so it's like you know Aragi's not here to clean her room anymore, you know. Part of me thinks I should just cut it all off. But she can't do that, right? She can't decide because of what her hair represents, you know? Hmm. Call myself greedy. You know, like, why is she calling herself greedy? Is it because after all this time she's like unable to give up on Shinjagahara still? I think it's specifically related to the Shinjagahara. Um, I start out with everything, I end up with nothing. I want everything and I lose everything. Right, yeah, it's like her own it's like these lines to me show her the way that she like dislikes her own desires essentially, right? Like she thinks her own desires are like bad, what she wants in life, right? At the same time she's unable to like move on or form new desires because she can't make any decisions, right? So I mean she's just stuck. She just can't move on in her life at all, you know? Like and here I think the line about Shinjikara was right here somewhere, right? Where was it? There's a text flash that said like I love Shinjikara, right? Somewhere in there. I am greed. I am greed and I love Shinjikahara. Yeah, yeah. So it's to me, I guess it's showing that this whole being greedy thing is specifically related to like Shinjikahara, right? Um, like her desire, the fact that she's still in love with Shinjikahara after all this time, you know, that she can't move on, right? Like, even though it's like in her mind, I guess she sees that like her being in love with Shinjikahara has done nothing but cause pain for other people, so she must just be greedy, right? Hmm. Oh yeah, there's this stupid like they can never get mad at her again because they're gone forever. Like I can still feel their presence, but it's merely an illusion. I laugh bitterly at my inability to give them up and head for school. And it's obviously they're not dead. She's talking like they're dead, even though they're not. She can still have a relationship with them in some way. But I guess it is true that it is sad that all she's thinking about is Aragi and Shinjugaharu when they're gone, right? Like how long have they even been gone, right? I don't know how Japanese school years work, but I mean, has it been months? Has it been? I mean, how long has it been since the term ended and they've been gone? You know, I mean, and the fact that she's not able to move on, that she can't give them up, right? Huh. I like this opening. I like this opening. I really gotta lock in on the lyrics though. I did a bad job this time. Okay, so we got Ogi. Oh, there's a good text flash here too, right? I think so. Oh, come on, where am I? No, am I dumb? I thought there was a text flash there somewhere. I'm going frame by frame. That's all there is to it. Today, April 9th. Now in my last year of high school. Oh, it's right here, I think, right? And now I am all alone. Yeah, now I am all alone. Exactly. And I wonder, does she think she's better off like that? Better off just being alone so she won't hurt other people? I don't know. I don't know. Okay, Ogi. What's up, Ogi? Ogi-kun, you're a boy now. Okay, good. Good to know. Um, what is Ogi? What are you? Right? Like, so I guess I'm just gonna use they now instead of like gendered pronouns because I don't know I don't know what to call them anymore. Um, so first things first. First things first. We got to cover this. Is Ogi an oddity? Um, maybe, right? They look freaky. They got weird eyes. Um, they switched genders apparently, which I guess that doesn't have to be an oddity thing. But they're being like weird about it too. Like they said, like, "Oh, I've never been a girl," you know. Um, the weird way that they know, it's like they know everyone, right? Like either they know everyone or we have missed a whole bunch in this interim time between Ogi's introduction and whatever's going on now, right? Because it seemed like they were intimately familiar with Araragi, and Araragi was certainly intimately familiar with them. And now Kambaru seems to know them just as much, right? Like they have this weird banter going back and forth, and I don't know, they seem very familiar with each other, which we haven't seen at all, right? In that sense, it kind of adds like the unease about Ogi existing, you know? Like they look so creepy and weird, and they just are suddenly in the story now, and they know all of these characters, and we just don't know why or how, right? So, like, I guess they could be an oddity. Because I mean, we've had oddities that just look like people, right? Like, what does it even mean to be an oddity, right? Like, Hajikuji's an oddity. Oninoki's an oddity. Does that matter? Not really, right? So, what does it even mean to be an oddity, right? I mean, who knows, right? Because in this case, with all this stuff that Ogi's saying to Kanbaru, yet again, it seems very, very applicable to her mindset and her problems in the moment. Just like when Ogi was talking to Aragi in the first episode of the last arc, right? Um, so, like, Ogi being directly related to these characters' problems like that is what makes me think that they're like an oddity, or at least related to oddities in some way, you know? But I guess in that case, it's like, what would I be saying? That it's normally it's like oddities are somehow directly related to a character's problems, right? Like to a specific character's problems. Like Hajikuji certainly, you know, in that case was in Mayuri Snail and is still kind of Aragi's like oddity in terms of like what I feel like she represents now in the story, right? Oninoki, I guess, you know, Oninoki's like a weird case. She feels like she kind of breaks that rule because I don't really know what I would say Oninoki is representative of in the story for like any specific character, you know? But Ogi, it's like Ogi has now served what feels like an oddity role in this case of being here to talk to a character about their problems, like directly, I guess. It's not like through the lens of analogy like the other oddities have been, you know? But for two different characters, you know? It's like they intimately know Araragi, they intimately know Kanbaru. I'm sure they're going to show up and talk to the other characters again, right? I'm sure this is going to be a recurring thing at this point. So it's like they know everyone. Like, I don't know. I guess I don't really know. I guess in that, I don't know. what I just said, that they know everyone, that kind of reminds you of Guy and Izuko, doesn't it? Right? Guy and Izuko, who is Guy and Tue's sister, right? Um, I don't know. That's interesting. I don't know. I wonder, is Guy and Izuko going to show up in this arc? Probably, right? I don't know. Okay, anyway, all that aside, so Ogi is talking to Kanbaru about whether or not it's okay to make mistakes. Um, which is interesting because Kanbaru, that's kind of her problem, right? She did make mistakes in the past, right? You can certainly call what she made, doing, beating up those kids, almost killing Aragi, as mistakes. Um, and Ogi kind of directly brings up her problem here, saying that she should be allowed to make mistakes in life, right? If you aren't allowed to make a single mistake, life would be miserable. Kanbaru's life certainly seems to be kind of miserable now. She's all alone. She ties her hand to the wall every night. All because of her fear of making the same kind of mistakes she made before, right? Her fear of making decisions. And yet again, just like in Kabuki, I don't really know what Ogi's point here is, unfortunately. Um, I don't know. They're getting Kanbaru to think about this in maybe the same way they got Aragi to think about the whole stoplight thing in relation to like his right and wrong stuff, right? But I don't know. I don't know. So is Ogi helping people with their problems? Maybe, I guess. Right? That certainly, I mean, they're kind of okay. It depends on where, because I just thought of this, right? Ogi introduces Kanbaru to Akuma-sama, to Sir Devil, right? It is going to depend on how this whole stuff ends up going with Kanbaru. And as I'm saying that, it's like, the last two arcs have certainly gone pretty good for our characters, right? Hanakawa's arc was almost like a resolution arc for her character. The last arc certainly led to a lot of development in their problems for Shinobu and Aragi. And now this arc, I'm gonna assume this is gonna lead to Kanbaru kind of figuring stuff out, right? And if through Ogi's introduction to her, Ogi's introducing Akuma-sama to Kanbaru, if that does end up like helping her and like fixing her problem in some sense, then I guess, yeah, I guess I would say that in this case, Ogi's kind of like helping her with her problem. So I don't know. Sounds good to me. Maybe I'm being too mean to Ogi. Maybe they aren't that creepy. I don't know. God, even the fact that she sits down at the desk that she thinks is Sindrigahara's, right? I was thinking like this literally could be Hanakawa's desk too. Just saying, right? Like, I don't know. I'm trying to think though. In Nekomonogatari Kuro, when Aragi sat down at Hanakawa's desk, that's the scene I'm thinking of. I think that was like 2 seats ahead of this though. I don't think that was here. So maybe this is Sindrigahara's desk. I don't know. But the fact that she sits down at Sindrigahara's desk, like, of course, right? And we meet Higasa, who, I don't know, is someone, I guess. Someone who played basketball with Kanbaru, which is interesting. And I don't know, it's interesting that Kanbaru feels the need to come up with an excuse to not hang out with Higasa. Why? Why does she do that? I think that is the one thing that kind of, to me, leads me to think more about that line at the start about the idea of life being a pain in the ass for Kanbaru. Like, I don't know, her feeling the need to come up with an excuse to not hang out with Higasa. I don't know. Those things feel connected to me. I don't know, because it's like she doesn't actually have anything to do, right? I don't know. Maybe because this is before. I don't know. Maybe she's just thinking about how she needs to go see Sir Devil. I guess, right? But still, I don't know. Hmm. And I don't know. It's a very similar thing to what Aragi said. And God, I don't remember when he said something like this before, though. I know he did. There's no way I could remember like what arc he said this in. But let me read those lines. That was blunt. How does she know that's supposed to be my secret? Students of Noetsu High have been talking about a kind of magic spell. You talk to Sir Devil about your problems. He'll solve them for you for sure. The fact that the words for sure are used make this whole thing sound like a lie. Hmm. Okay, so Kanbaru obviously would be wary about the idea of someone's problems being solved for sure. Obviously, right? Do I need to spell it out, right? Because of what happened with the Rainy Devil, right? With her, right? Hmm. And she's even worried that it could be her, which is interesting, fulfilling other people's desires as Sir Devil, right? As Akuma-sama. He won't do anything that goes too far, which doesn't really sound like Komburu's situation, right? Because she certainly had no. The Rainy Devil had no boundaries with going too far, you know? I don't know. I'm thinking more about this whole, like, almost excusing Komburu's actions using the Rainy Devil. Maybe I shouldn't do that at all, you know? Um, I don't know. I can't decide. I really can't decide. But it's really hard for me to say that I think Kombaru would have done those things without the Rainy Devil, right? And that the Rainy Devil. I don't know. I don't know. Because it feels like maybe it does kind of make it less meaningful if I'm like blaming the Rainy Devil for her actions in any way, you know? Because then that would make her eventually learning to trust herself, which I assume is going to be the point of this arc. That would make that like less meaningful, I feel like, you know? If it can just all be blamed on the Rainy Devil, you know? But I guess maybe that's wrong. Because like what Oshino said is it's her having those desires in the first place that's the problem in her mind, you know? Um, and she's going to have those desires whether or not the Rainy Devil exists. I don't know. I don't know. I can't decide. I can't decide which way I should view it exactly. May actually be one. There's no way a very real person can't be a devil, right? And I don't know. That obviously also applies to Kanbaru, you know. Hmm. They couldn't merely be kind, could they? Right? Because, like, Ogi, it's like Ogi is saying this. Like, Ogi knows what's up with Kanbaru, right? Ogi obviously knows Kanbaru's situation fully. Just like it was so clear that they knew everything about Araragi and Kabuki, right? Um, cause like what, like Ogi obviously saying, oh, they couldn't merely be kind, could they? Like, it's obvious what they're, like, hinting at there. They're getting Kanbaru, you know, like, oh, just like the Rainy Devil, right? So, I don't know. I don't know. And Aragi's apparently big news around here these days. And man, it's crazy. The Fire Sisters are still together. Wasn't Skihi talking about how she thought Karen was going to start bullying her once she got into high school? But seems like they're still together now. I don't know. Karen would be in high school now, right? What is she doing? I guess she has Aragi's room now. Aragi's gone. I don't know. Did Aragi move out? I have no idea. I don't know. I guess we don't know like what they're doing. Because that was the idea, right? I remember in early on, Senjukahara and Aragi wanted to live together in college, you know? No such thing as devils. So there's three ways to contact the devil: the easy way, the normal way, the hard way. I don't know what to make of this. I don't know if there's actually like some kind of meaning I could take from it. I'm sure there is. We go so deep into it here that like I don't know. I don't know. um there has to be some kind of meaning to it though, like meeting the devil directly. I don't know. It's all I guess you could view it as like, well, I don't know, not really. I was gonna say you could view it as like how close you're willing to get to like acknowledging your desire and like wanting to do anything to get it fixed, right? And I guess that makes sense, right? Because people who are most desperate to have their problem fixed would be the ones who go meet the devil directly, right? And in that case, it's like you're getting too close to the sun, right? It's like the same kind of thing that Conbru's scared of, you know? Like you could say her taking the devil hand out and making a deal with the devil in that case, and that ended up, you know, with the consequences that she didn't enjoy. Um, that was like her meeting the devil, you know. Whereas if you just write the letter, that's obviously like a, you know, a more less personal thing, less personal meeting with the devil to have your problem fixed, you know. And we meet up with the devil in the Minecraft Superflat world. I don't know. I don't know what's going on here. Couldn't tell you. There's a tree stump. I was thinking about the tree stump. What does that mean? Trees have a lot of meaning in some sense, right? Like obviously Aragi's name means tree, right? Or there's tree in his name. Um, it doesn't literally mean tree. I know that. There's tree in his name, but We've also just gotten like a million shots of the tree at like the cram school, right? Um, but I don't know. The tree analogy has always been kind of rough for me. I don't really know what's being said with the tree. You know what I mean? Like we've gotten so many shots of it that clearly like mean something, but I couldn't tell you what it means that there's a tree stump here. Actually, I don't know. Could I like what there being a tree stump? God, I don't know. I guess if you want to say that somehow the tree at the cram school, which the cram school is very special, like to Araragi, it being like the place with all everything and Kizer went down, right? If you want to say the tree at the cram school is somehow representative of like Aragi's growth as a person or something, right? There being a tree stump here is interesting for like Kanbaru, her like being stuck in the past, not being able to grow and change as a person because of her fear of like making decisions, I guess. Sure, that's what I'll say. That's my tree stump analysis. And I think this is interesting, this line that Numachi has, that Kumbro is the 11th of 10 people, you know? I don't know, that makes me think of the lines at the very start, when Gaintube said that Kumbro is nothing special, that there's nothing special about her, that she's just weak. And that's why life is going to be a pain in the ass, you know? I don't know, because it's interesting that here Numachi kind of says that Kumbro is special, that she's the 11th of 10 people, you know? I don't know, I don't know. So Numachi is injured. I forget what uh, her last name is, or her I guess her first name, her given name. Numachi something. But she is injured, which is interesting. It depends on. Oh, so immediately, obviously, we're having extreme immediate parallels between Numachi and Komber, right? They both used to play basketball. They both gave up playing basketball, right? Um, for different reasons, though, right? Kombaru essentially voluntarily stopped playing basketball because she is afraid of hurting other people, right? Like, literally, that was her reason at the end of Suruga Monkey for why she can't play basketball anymore. She's afraid that she would like hurt people, right? Her arm is too powerful, so she doesn't want to doesn't want to play basketball. The same reason why she's afraid of making decisions in life in general is because she's afraid of hurting other people, right? She's afraid of the consequences of her desires, right? Um, so if we say if basketball is kind of like, I guess just life in general, playing basketball is like doing things in life, right? It's interesting. We have Numachi here, who is also injured, but I guess we can assume her injury is something like genuine. It's not like something like Komburu's like injury, you know? That she actually had to stop playing basketball for that reason, right? And just like Komburu is stuck and isn't doing anything in her life in general, the same way she's not playing basketball, Numachi is like the same. She doesn't go to school. She doesn't do anything, apparently. She just does nothing, right? Um, and she doesn't play basketball anymore. Um, so immediately, these are two very similar characters in that sense. They seem to be two people who are kind of stuck in that same way, right? They're both injured, they both stop playing basketball, and they both do nothing, right? Um, but I guess I have to wonder, what would Kombaru think of, well, what was her name? Wait, Numachi. Okay, Numachi. What would Kombaru think of her, of someone who is actually injured and is unable to play basketball and is unable to do anything in life, I guess, um, or like, I guess, genuine reasons, or I guess a reason outside of her own control, right? Like, Konbaru's reason is a personal one, right? Like, she doesn't play basketball, and therefore she doesn't do anything in life because she's afraid of hurting other people. If we say Numachi's reason for not playing basketball is genuinely this injury that she got that isn't her own fault, I don't know. What would Kombaru think about that? Like, what is the comparison being made there, you know? Like, what does that mean exactly? And God, it has to be related to the fact that Kombaru is on offense and she's on defense, right? Like, obviously, to me, the meaning I take from this immediately, the idea of Kombaru being an offensive player, good at charging straight at the hoop, that's just like Kombaru's attitude towards her desires before, right? The fact that when she had a problem, she immediately went to the monkey's paw to try and fix it for her, you know? That's like her being an offensive player, charging straight at her problem, right? She's the opposite now. She doesn't play basketball at all anymore, you know? Um, hmm. Numachi was a defensive player skilled at getting between you and the goal. Getting between you and the goal. Right? Like, I hope you can understand that there has to be some analogy and some allegory tied into those words there, right? Some kind of metaphor there. A defensive player skilled at getting between you and the goal. Is Numachi an obstacle between Kamburu and the goal right now? Numachi is standing next to the cut down tree. um, I don't know. I don't know. That's just we're gonna have to see about that. We're gonna have to see about that. If in some way Numachi ends up being someone who is an obstacle, right? That makes sense, right? If Kamburu is the offensive player, Numachi is the obstacle between her and the goal. Then in this arc, is Numachi the obstacle that Kamburu needs to overcome, right? To reach the goal, to, whatever the end of this arc is going to be for her self-actualization or whatever, Maybe, right? Because what does Numachi represent so far, She's just like Kamburu, right? In the sense of all of this, she's injured, she doesn't play basketball, all of that, right? Um, the same way that Kamburu distrusts herself, she doesn't like Numachi for doing this Akuma-sama stuff, enjoying other people's misery in that case. Um, I don't really know how that relates to Kamburu and her problem at the moment, though. We just got to keep going. The show will tell me. I'll figure it out in 5 minutes, I'm sure. Um, top players are really weak to injuries, huh? Numachi badly hurt her left leg during a match right before she would have faced us. Is there more than one there? Ooh. In her last middle school tournament, Numachi badly... Okay. She was forced to retire. Yeah. And she talks about how, like, Numachi was, like, a rival, too, in middle school, right? Hmm. Now, it would be very interesting if this injury is actually real, too. Like, what if her injury... Well, I don't know. I guess I'm trying to think. Like, I think that would strengthen the connection between Kamburu and Numachi, right? If her injury just like also isn't real, and she's also doing this essentially of her own volition, the same way Kamburu is, right? Um, but how would that like work in the story? I have no idea. Like, um, she could just be faking it. But why would she be faking it? Why would she decide to stop playing basketball? I don't know. The same reason Kamburu did, maybe. But it doesn't seem like Numachi is like that. It seems like Numachi is the opposite of that. And in that sense, that's kind of the interesting part. That's kind of the only connection I can make between what Numachi's doing and Kamburu's attitude so far is Numachi, like, is enjoying the misery of others, right? For Kamburu, the misery of others is her entire reason for why she's stuck and why she acts the way she does. Um, Numachi's the other way around, where it's like the value she finds in life is through the misery of others, right? So, hmm. And she compares Numachi to Araragi, which is interesting because I think it's different. I think they're very different. Hmm. So she's done this for 3 years, apparently, listening to people's problems. The betterment of mankind isn't why I'm doing it. Of course, thank you. We don't get blue scenes like that. When have we got out a blue scene before? That's a crazy twist there. For the sake of my left leg, right? Because she says she hears people who are worried or in trouble, and I can tell myself, good, many people are just as miserable as I am. Some are even more so. Which is like schadenfreude, right? That's kind of like what it is. She thinks that her situation isn't as bad because other people's situations are also bad, right? Or people have it worse off than her. Um, which again, I'm really struggling to connect that to Kamburu and like her attitude about things. It has to be connected. It literally has to be. Um, but like Kamburu's reason for doing things was never like that, right? She is it just the misery connection? Like maybe. I guess maybe it's like Numachi seems to take joy in her connection with others. Like, uh, well, no, because it's not like Numachi's hurting other people, right? I was gonna say that Numachi takes joy in her connection with others hurting them, which is the opposite of Kamburu. But no, Numachi doesn't even hurt people, right? All she does is take it's the personal feeling she gets from it. Hmm. I don't know. It's the first episode. I'll figure it out. I promise. And like the way that Kanbaru immediately starts hating her for that, right? Is I think because Kanbaru's kind of making that same connection about the whole misery thing, right? Which I think, for one, it's important to remember that, of course, Kanbaru is like a good person, right? Like, despite Kanbaru and her, um, like, her issue with wanting to kill Aragi and beating up those kids, right? The fact that she feels bad about it is meaningful, right? She isn't like Numachi. That's like the important thing, right? Is she isn't like Numachi. And maybe that's the important thing here. Maybe she is thinking of herself like Numachi, and that is what she needs to overcome in that case, you know? Because she feels bad, right? Um, but again, maybe that is the difference between being like plain water or being like poison. And if that's the dichotomy that Kanbaru sees, which is either you have to be like poison, you have to be someone like Numachi who enjoys the misery of others, or you have to do nothing forever, like Kanbaru is now, then I don't know. There has to be a third option, right? God, I don't know. Is that why Gantue was saying life would be miserable for her? Was she more so talking to Kamburu's like empathy and understanding that Kamburu would have this struggle of causing other people pain for her, right? Because Gantue called it poison as well, right? She said it would be better to be poison than pure water. So in that case, you have to understand, or you have to assume that Gantue also understands or thinks that her desires would be like poison to other people. Um, so it's So it's really making me think then that Gain 2A is someone who essentially was unable to overcome this problem that Kanbaru has, right? Huh. And yeah, Kanbaru gets so mad she slaps her, which is crazy. Hmm. Don't get so serious, huh? And I don't know. I'm really trying to think. It's almost like as well you could view this as Kanbaru like talking to her own inner desires, right? Because Numachi is the thing that's fulfilling people's desires, right? Like if you, it's like a triple connection you have to make. You have to imagine that the rainy devil is Kanbaru's like desires, right, and her fulfilling them, and then Numachi is like the rainy devil because Numachi is fulfilling people's, or not even, right? She says she does nothing. But Numachi there's been a connection made between her and the devil, right? She's called Akuma-sama, right? Um, so I don't know. Is that another angle I could view it in? Maybe. I don't know. I'm really starting to think it's that Kanbaru like thinks that she is like Numachi, right? That she's telling herself that she's like, or just she's making this connection in her mind that she is like Numachi, essentially, you know? That this is kind of how she views herself in some way, you know? Or not that this is how she views herself. Maybe this is how she views her like dark evil desires that she wants to reject, you know? Um, but this is how she could imagine herself like turning out as, right? She could imagine herself becoming like Numachi, essentially, you know? The same way that they're both people who are injured, who don't play basketball anymore, you know? And I think for Kanbaru, this would be like her worst nightmare. She doesn't want to be like this. She doesn't want to enjoy the misery of others. She does nothing, though. That's Man, she doesn't do anything. Does Numachi do anything? Like, no, apparently not. She doesn't go to school. She doesn't work. She doesn't play basketball. She doesn't do anything for any of these people. Crazy, insane. Because I guess it's like if Numachi's literally her reason for being alive, her entire existence. I guess all she does is enjoy the misery of others, right? Which is just the complete opposite of why Kanbaru acts the way she does now, right? She doesn't like stories that are too painful either. Imachi, why do you do that? Like, what are you doing? Come on. Okay, usually time alone is enough to resolve whatever is worrying you. How far into the episode are we? Okay, we're almost done. This is the longest discussion ever. Basically, worry is uneasy. Basically, worry is uneasiness about the future. Ogi said something similar, right? So what they need to hear me say, I'll take care of the problem. What they need is to hear me say, I'll take care of the problem, not the problem actually being solved. Um, so like the imagery in this scene also shows it very clearly, right? what Kombaru has been doing this whole time is just waiting for her problem to go away, right? That was literally like her solution for her feelings about Senjukahara is like was literally a time thing, right? Wait for her hair to grow out really long, so then Aragi will want to date her instead. So then Senjukahara would just pick her, right? Like, and even now, it's like her inability to give up Aragi and Senjukahara, her inability to play basketball anymore, right? It's just all she's doing is waiting. She's just waiting and hoping her problems will go away because she's afraid of making any decisions herself, so she's just gonna wait, you know? And I don't know, she says that that's just like running away, right? Does Kombaru think that she isn't running away? Do I think she's running away? I don't know. Because she's certainly wallowing in the misery of her problems, right? She's not running away from the consequences of her actions in that case, you know? Um, because she's dealing with the misery at all times. It seems like she's miserable now. So she's not running away in that case exactly, but she's certainly running away from having to make a decision to actually change her situation, you know? And yeah, and literally the imagery in the scene, it's like the sand coming up and covering her, you know? It's like the sand in an hourglass, you know? Most problems in this world can be solved by running. You keep putting it off and running away, and eventually it isn't a problem anymore. Okay, I guess if we're tying running away to putting something off, then yes, that's what Komburu's doing, right? She's running away in the sense of never addressing it, you know? Um, hmm. Things only get tough for people when you try to solve a problem immediately, right? Just like what Kombaru was doing, right? Kombaru even thinks that herself, you know? But she still disagrees with Numachi, which is interesting. Um, and yeah, and of course, and that's that is what it always comes back to, right? She doesn't care about her own desire, right? It's the hurting other people. She's not thinking in this moment, then oh, if I hadn't done that, then I would have gotten to date Sindra Gahara. No, it's the hurting other people that is what she thinks of. That is the problem, you know? Hmm. I don't know. I don't know. What does Kombaru think about what she said? I can't decide. I guess maybe she just hasn't. She doesn't know what to think. I don't think she has a conclusion about it. You know, because I feel like her defense mechanism to her problems has been running away. But that doesn't really. That doesn't mean that she's making that decision consciously, in a sense, right? That's just the easiest way for her to like handle it or get away from handling it. You know, I don't know. I don't know. Beyond is it true that's beyond her comprehension? I don't know. I don't know. I think it's scarily close to her comprehension, and that's why she has this reaction to Numachi. You're almost helping people. And yeah, she is almost helping people because I think what Numachi said is true. I think it's true that just telling someone about your problem and having them listen does help in some sense, right? And I think that's interesting because Komburu's unable to do that too, right? It's not like she's been struggling this much with the lack of Aragi and Shinjigahara in her life. She's been struggling with her feelings over Shinjigahara for so long. And it's not like she ever told anyone about it, right? Again, she did this weird, crazy roundabout thing of trying to grow her hair out to entice Aragi to hope that Sindra will that Aragi will give up on Sindra and like all the, instead of talking to her friend about her problem. Like she could have tried, I don't know. I guess I don't want to try and say what she should have done because trying to like talk to Aragi about her feelings probably wouldn't work out. That didn't go too well in Suruga Monkey because he tried to kill himself for her. Um, but she certainly doesn't try and talk to people about her problems, right? I think that's edging too close to realizing her desires, which she doesn't want to do. Wanted to see you again on the court. That's a wish of ours that will never happen. If you both keep running from your problems, yeah. Sometimes life can be a problem. No, I love that line. Because what did we just say was the way to deal with our problems is to run away. So you're running away from life itself, right? Yeah, time will also solve that problem, huh? Huh. God, beautiful shots. Beautiful shots. And she says she feels better. I don't know, does she? God, the coloring is insane. Look at this. Will a day come when I can sleep without taping my arm to the wall? Maybe. That's gonna be the thumbnail. That looks so good. So, will a day come when I can sleep without taping my arm to the wall? Not if you don't do anything about it. I don't think sitting around and waiting is gonna help, right? I don't think that's when it's gonna come, you know? And like, yes, by the end of the episode she doesn't have the monkey arm anymore, but that doesn't actually fix her problem of like not trusting herself, right? So I don't know. I don't think that day has come yet, right? An old acquaintance of mine, a girl, fondled my boobs. Thank you. Thank you. I guess that's a good message to send to Araki. He would he would like that. Frowning with worry may make you appear smart, but that's a misunderstanding. Thinking isn't always the answer. People who live their lives without thinking about a thing usually get much further. Like, again, God, it's so hard to say what I think about this. Is she saying specifically like not thinking about the impacts on others that your actions will have, right? If that's the line I'm taking this down, that I think Gain 2A is someone who was unable to overcome the same problem Converu is having. Maybe, right? Because it is the thinking all the time. All Converu does is think, right? Like, I don't know. Worrying is a waste of time. Yeah, like worrying about the impact your decisions will have, I guess, you know? Huh. Because, yeah, if you don't take the initiative, don't regret it. But, like, that's all Converu has done is regret, you know? I don't know. She got her nail clippers back, and she got her arm back. Why? Why did it revert back? Why did it revert back? I don't know. I don't know. Obviously, her problem isn't solved. So, why did it revert back? I really don't know. It's not like she told anyone about her problem. She didn't take the first step, you know? Like, yes, she went to go meet up with Sir Devil, and Sir Devil's supposed to solve your problems, but she didn't actually do anything to get her problem solved. So, why would her arm be gone? I don't know. I don't know. I guess we'll figure that out next time, or maybe we won't, but who knows? But that was a good episode. That was a really long discussion, so my bad. Um, I don't know. Yeah, that was a really good first episode. So I'm excited to see where this goes. This long arc. So I'm down for it. No Araragi. No Araragi yet again. Yeah, I guess that's it. So leave a comment, tell me what you think. Laugh at me for my incorrect analysis in this one, because this is a rough one. Subscribe, please, if you enjoy my videos. And I will see you in the next one.